Everyone, please take a deep breath. Thanks. That was for me. We have this lifetime. How do you choose to live it? Let's break it down. Each day, each hour, each moment, it's your choice. How do you choose to spend those minutes? In 24 hours, I suggest spend a third of it sleeping. And if you get less than 7 hours, mums, you get a free pass to power nap. It's a rule. What do moms hear all day? I'm tired. I don't want to walk. I don't want to eat my food. I don't want to wear those boots. We teach our kids to reframe it. It's a beautiful day. Let's get fresh air. This food is delicious. It's raining. Let's go jump in puddles. We're really good at shifting the perspective into a positive one. And here's another example of perspective. When you go on vacation, do you go to explore and discover new cultures and beautiful scenery? Or do you take a holiday to escape from your home life? If that's the case, one holiday getaway is not going to make things better. Once you get back, you will end up planning the next one as soon as the discomfort of your life sets in again. And here's a good rule about whining. Every time I hear a complaint, I want to hear a possible solution. Not only from my kids, but from friends and family. If all I hear is whining and complaining about anything, I'm going to ask, so what are you going to do about it? Don't you get tired of hearing the same story over and over again? If your friends are constantly whining about their kids, exhaustion, about being single, or arguments with their partners, it gets really tiring. As a mom, friend, coach, I'm going to be the one to say, I've heard you talk about this situation many times in a loving way. Now, I would like to hear a possible solution, and I can help you. This implies that you have a choice and you can do something about it. What about our own stories? We have our own internal whining system. Ugh, it's Monday. I'm dreading the week ahead. I've said this before. I'm just not excited to wake up another day and make school lunches and go to the same park and do the same grind day after day. I hate exercising. I'm exhausted. I experienced postpartum depression after my second child was born. I just didn't want to get out of bed. One morning, I told my husband that all I want to do is sleep and not ever wake up. In 2003, our firstborn son, Eric, was just diagnosed with autism at 2.5 years old. Our newborn son, Andrew, had head-to-toe eczema. He was a terrible sleeper, always uncomfortable and constantly crying. Then I got pregnant again with Adriana when Andrew was 4 months. I had 3 babies in 3.5 years before I turned 30. Our days were spent finding consultants and working with numerous therapists, pediatricians, 2 preschools, sleep and behavior issues, taking care of a new baby girl. Even though we had help, it was still a lot of work. For those who have experienced depression, it gets to a point where the emotional pains turn into a physical ache in your body, a dull, gut-wrenching soul pain. I would sit with my mom, and she'd hold me in her arms. In that moment, someone else was taking care of me. One day I cried to her, and I said, "It's too much, Mom. I'm in so much pain, I don't know what to do." And her response was, "God only gives you what you can handle." So I would rest and ruminate and read and journal. Mums love being moms, right? For me, if being a mom was all there was to my life, it wasn't enough. I deeply felt that I was created to do more. So I began my search. Who would I be and what would I be doing if I wasn't a mom? What gifts do I have to share with the world outside of my family? What am I good at? What do I love? So I started a home business, April Cakes, then a bigger business, Granola Girl, then networking group called Serendipity Tea Party for women entrepreneurs, fundraisers called Good in the Hood, then weekly goddess gatherings, and now mentoring and coaching. These businesses and events became vehicles for me to interact with the outside world, with other adults whose conversations didn't revolve around kids. And I have to say, this is probably one of the first mom or parent event, and now you can see why. I removed myself from the parenting world so that I could pursue other businesses that had nothing to do with parenting or being a mom. I wanted to talk about life. I needed to feel like myself in a way that was productive beyond making dinner and doing laundry. I just needed a break from momming. I felt I had lost myself and my life, my individuality, my identity. It was time to find myself again, build a relationship with myself again, and create the mindset that would help me instead of relying on external sources to fix me. And by that, I mean taking holiday getaways, going to get my hair or nails done, going to the spa, getting massages, seeing psychics, working overtime, or being a workshopaholic, or self-medicating with shopping sprees, food, sugar, or wine. Self-care means so much more than these superficial distractions. I needed to find the right tools to help fill my self-help toolbox that would be available to me at any time. I needed to learn to self-cultivate, which for some can take many months, even years. So I invite you to start with this. Before you had kids, what are some of the things that made you feel alive? Have you had moments of feeling every cell of your body vibrating and screaming, yes, more of this, please? What are some of the things you set aside and parked on the top shelf when you became a mom? Was it road trips, singing karaoke, dancing, rock climbing, painting, sitting at a cafe or the beach and reading a book? Don't you think going to the dentist's office is like a retreat these days because you get to read a magazine? So, as some small examples, I stopped skiing for 15 years, and I just started again 2 years ago. Now I ski with my son. I have moments on the mountain of feeling fully alive. I have experienced this when I joined a song circle with 30 other women singing with their full hearts. Check out Julie Blue. I felt this when I went to Paris on my 40th birthday with my mom. Talk about celebrating life. I also remember having moments of internal celebrations, feeling like all those years of swim and bike lessons paid off at Pedalheads. When all the kids were on two-wheelers for the first time, or when we were all swimming at the lake and no one needed a life jacket. There are moments of bliss and serenity. Ah, yes. When the kids are cuddling in our arms, being fully engaged when reading a book, or asking deep questions like, "Are you happy, Mommy?" That can bring us to tears. Moments when every person in the family is cooperating and we feel synchronized, dancing around each other like beautiful choreography. Don't you just love that? Most of the time, we're living on autopilot. The default mode is rushing and yelling and refereeing, mindlessly putting away toys and clothes and groceries, chauffeuring from one activity to another, filling out field trip forms, and how many times do I need to write out their 10 allergies and care card number? I might as well tattoo it on my arm. All 3 care card numbers. We truly are modern Renaissance women. We're striving to balance home life and work life, and be active and healthy, and have the beach body, and be the trophy wife, whatever that looks like, and doing the best we know how. Yet the most important thing is to recognize that it all begins with self-love. And not only that, but doing anything and everything that will lead to an even bigger heart expansion. Do you know the 80-20 rule? We probably spend 80% of the time being asleep at the wheel, doing our grind, being on autopilot, and 20% practicing present moment awareness. How can we reverse this current landscape? To have more present and blissful experiences 80% of the time and less in default mode? How can you create the life that feels like a vacation you don't need to escape from? So let's go back to that top shelf where we parked everything, our thoughts around things we couldn't do anymore. How can we implement some of these things that we loved back into our lives again? And how can we involve the kids in the same things that made us happy? I would love to share what I've accumulated in my trusty life toolkit. There's workouts. I hate exercising, but I love feeling great. Mindset. Yoga nidra, kundalini yoga, meditations, mantra, nature walks, goddess gatherings, and girls' night in. Having mentors, going on spiritual retreats, knowing my values, and knowing my sacred gifts. And breathing. Can we all just take another deep breath? All these things make me feel on purpose. So how about less doing and more being and living in our gifts instead of struggling and swimming upstream? Moments of celebration are a must. Let's talk about our wins, no matter how small. Now my kids are 15, 16, and 18. Having 3 teenagers, most people are terrified for me. I do love this age. I was not a fan of 9 to 12 years old, just saying. It's okay to say that, right? It's okay. Now, I can watch chick flicks with my daughter and talk about crushes and building real friendships. Andrew, remember the terrible sleeper, is a kind-hearted and athletic young man who really now loves his sleep. And Eric, our eldest son, is graduating high school and will move on to post-secondary. And this is something to celebrate for sure. This picture was taken last weekend at his grad in the Bayshore. So he has overcome, oh my God, thank you. He has overcome so many symptoms of autism and even got off his anti-anxiety meds because he learned self-regulation tools such as breath work and meditation and being easy and flexible. And you should be proud of your kids too, because you got them here. You gave birth. Your job is done. Now, you're their guide, their personal guide to life and living it to the fullest. They chose you, and this is your role. Their success is a testament of you doing your part. So our priority is not our kids, it's ourselves. Your actual job is to look after you. Whatever it is your kids are going through, take that finger and point it back to you and say, how is my child's behavior a reflection of me? Am I projecting my emotions onto my child that's causing them to act out? If your child isn't happy, ask yourself, am I happy? If your child is struggling, ask yourself, where in my life could I be struggling? If your child is feeling anxiety, ask yourself, how could I be contributing to these feelings? Once you heal through your own experience, you will become the expert and better equipped at helping your child through any situation. For Eric with autism, I've changed my perspective. He is not in my life so I can change him. He's my teacher. He is here to change others, and I have to change the world for him. He just wants to fit in, have friends, be accepted. And isn't that what we're all here for? To have a sense of belonging, to be seen, heard, supported, and loved for who we are, unconditionally. We spend far too much time trying to be who we are not. Taking perfect Instagram pictures, keeping up with other families we put on a pedestal. Well, guess what? They have their own struggles too. We change ourselves so others will accept us. But kids with autism or any child with unique abilities or differences are here to say, we're here. Take us as we are and adjust yourselves. You change. If only we can be brave enough to say, this is me. I'm weird. Take it or leave it. So what is the purpose of our lives? What is my role beyond mom? What are my unique gifts? And how can I contribute to the world in a way that is meaningful to me and beneficial to others? All these topics are exactly what I'm very passionate about, and this is my contribution. I became a certified sacred gifts guide to help you feel on purpose. I'm coming out as an intuitive life purpose coach. I'm the weird one. It's not every day you're gonna meet someone like me, but this is me. And I assure you, there are many more coming, also known as light workers. And it's our mission to bring you back to the truth of who you are. So I invite you, have the courage to ask yourself these big questions. You are worthy, you are enough, and you belong here. Do your heart work, not the hard work, but the heart work, and reclaim your unique gifts and identity. It will be the first step to healing your family because it really all begins with you. Thank you.